Oh man, it's finally here. In about a week, Tears of the Kingdom will finally come out, and man, I am super hyped. I've been waiting this game for years, for 4 years to be exact, because if you don't remember, the game was originally announced in 2019, E3 of 2019 to be exact, where we get that little preview trailer of Link and Zelda exploring an underground cave or some type of ruins or something like that, where they stumble upon dehydrated Ganondorf. Well, that's what the community calls them. Dehydrated Ganondorf, right? Yeah. Anyways, they stumble upon him. We see Hyrule Castle raise up into the sky, and a bunch of stuff seems to be going down pretty bad. Man, but I am super hyped to finally dive into this world and see what is going on. Now, the biggest thing about this game is we still don't know much. We've gotten a total of about 3 to 4 glimpses of this game, including trailers, where we've only seen small things, and actually 2 of those were the same thing over and over again with like an extended ending. So we still don't really know the whole story. Yes, we know Ganondorf is back, as he was confirmed in the latest trailer, and we do see something happening with the Master Sword. It looks like it broke or something like that, and we probably have to fix it somehow, but that's pretty much all we really know. We've kind of guessed on what the tiers are in Tears of the Kingdom. We assume that you have to be Ganondorf. We don't know if anything else is out there. I mean, honestly, I'm a big believer that I think Demise is still coming back as well. Then Ganondorf is just like the, how can I put it, like the side villain, right? He's just there for the beginning and the middle, and then at the end, Demise is going to come back and we have to fight Demise. But I mean, that's just a theory I personally have, and there's really no evidence for that, so you know, take that with a grain of salt for sure. But what I am going to talk about today is the 5 things that I think you should know that's going on in Tears of the Kingdom. A lot of it's more gameplay mechanic stuff, because I hate that people out there are saying this is just Breath of the Wild DLC. It is not Breath of the Wild DLC at all. So let me dive in with the top 5 things I feel that you should know about this game. Number 5, right, is that it is using the same engine as Breath of the Wild, but it's not DLC. A lot of people seem to think it's DLC because all they really showed off is the sky portion of it, and that's about it. But I've seen gameplay, and man, there's actually a huge difference in the world. Hyrule itself has changed. It's been, I guess you could say, almost terraformed because of the skies coming out and everything. Things are raising up and all that other stuff. So a lot of the areas are going to be different. They have changed some spots because basically Hyrule's in its rebuilding phase after the calamity. So a lot of things will be different. So you can go back and revisit some of those same locations, and you might notice something different there, which is going to be pretty awesome as well. But not only that, the sky itself is huge. I've seen gameplay, and man, it is pretty big. It's probably the size of Hyrule itself, so it's almost like a brand new world. Not only that, we also are guessing that there's an underground area as well, and if the underground area is pretty huge as well, then yeah, we're in for a pretty big game. Now, the game is not DLC. I don't know why people keep saying, oh, it's just Breath of the Wild with DLC. No, matter of fact, the game did start as DLC, but as Anuma said in a couple of interviews, it got so big they decided to make their own game out of it. So yeah, the game is not DLC, even though it might have similar vibes. There are a lot of new mechanics in it, and the world is probably twice as big, if not 3 times as big. It's going to be a huge world. I mean, when you look at the vertical axis, it is huge. The last game that I know of that had a huge vertical axis was Xenoblade Chronicles X, where honestly you can go really high up in the sky, specifically if you had a scale. So this is kind of like mirroring that, and I believe Monolith Soft helped out with Tears of the Kingdom, so it kind of makes sense that they would do something like that. Number 4, weapon breaking is back, baby. Yeah, I know a lot of you guys aren't excited about that, but there's a temporary fix, I guess you could say, and that's fusing your weapons. So if your weapon's about to break, or maybe you want something just more durable and stronger overall, you can fuse your weapon to different materials around that you find, such as finding a pitchfork and a stick to get a very long pitchfork, or getting an axe and getting a boulder and making a boulder axe, I guess. Like some crazy stuff that you can do with it. Honestly, this is probably the most ridiculous fusing mechanic I've seen in a game, but it looks fun nonetheless. I've seen people fuse a shield and a boulder to get like a boulder shield, and then they're using a great sword with a boulder on that, and they got a boulder great sword. Like, so many ridiculous things that you can do, but it's going to be pretty fun to see what you can do. Not only that, it's not only just materials you can fuse, you can actually fuse different weapons. For example, you can fuse a sword and a shield, and now you have a sword shield, I guess. So a lot of cool stuff that people are going to be utilizing that for. So I'm very excited for that. It is neat to have a, I guess, workaround to the breaking mechanic. I'm one of those believers that I think the breaking mechanic was necessary, because if not, I would have used pretty much the same weapon throughout the whole game, which would have made all the other weapons irrelevant, right? I can think of like Dark Souls as an example. I basically used the same weapon in Dark Souls for a long time until I need something stronger, and then I kind of swap out from there. So I think the breaking weapon, or the weapon breaking mechanics rather, is actually a really good mechanic, and big props for them to bringing it back, but also try to make it a little bit easier for those who hate it. Number 3, Ganondorf is back. And as far as we know right now, it looks like he is the main antagonist. We do see rehydrated Ganondorf, which people are dubbing him now, up here. He has some awesome, cool lines. He's voiced by, I believe his name is Matt Mercer, who I believe he voiced Leon and a couple of other people that I know he's done. But he's pretty big out there. But anyways, he's out there. We do know that he's kind of starting all of this, but that's pretty much all we know. We've only seen small glimpses of him, and that's about it. We don't know the underlying motive. I mean, I guess the motive is to destroy or conquer Hyrule, right? Get the Triforce. At least that's what we assume, right? But I'm a big believer that I think Demise is going to come back, and I feel that he's going to somehow bring back Demise. Let's hope. That's just a personal theory of mine. I don't have any evidence, unfortunately. I don't think there's anything in the trailers that's actually leading to that, but I guess we'll have to wait and see. Now, number 2, crafting is back. So with me and open world games, the biggest thing I hate the most is crafting. Yes, I hate crafting. I don't know why, I just don't like to have to go and run around, find materials to craft certain things, right? Like for example, in Breath of the Wild, having to have certain food to, find certain things, or to go to certain areas because it was too cold or too hot. I hated that. I hated finding the materials to cook these foods. But there's a different type of crafting system in here which actually has my interest, and that's being able to build Gundams. Well, maybe not just Gundams, but being able to build whatever you want. They showed a bunch of cool stuff. For example, creating your own boat. You can create like a flying machine, and it looks like it was heavily inspired by all the players in the Breath of the Wild community making those ridiculously devices like a minecart that can fly through the sky and all that other good stuff. It definitely looks like it was inspired by that. I do like that they took that idea from the community and added it in there, and it actually looks really cool. I've seen already a couple of people use different flying machines to get around places and how they pull their stuff together. We saw that trailer. There's like the big looking mech that Link is driving. That's all going to be pretty awesome, and I'm actually very curious on what you can make. We've also seen you can craft rockets, how people get around certain areas, such as blasting himself in the sky and then dropping down into a camp and fighting everybody. So there's going to be a bunch of cool things when it comes to crafting in this game, and I'm very excited to actually try this out. This is the first time I can say I'm excited for crafting elements. And number 1 is, we don't know anything. I mean, honestly, yeah, we know a little bit about what the story is at and, where it takes place and all that stuff, but we don't really know much beyond that. And to me, that's very, very small portion of what the game's going to be. Us knowing Nintendo, I'm sure they're hiding a lot of crazy things in the game. I mean, when you look at Breath of the Wild and look at the trailers that we saw from there was a bunch of hidden stuff there that we didn't even know about. So I am super excited to play this game. Now, there is a flip side to that, right? We can be hoping there's a bunch of stuff we don't know about, but then next thing you know, this was like a movie trailer where we just saw the whole plot and we know everything that's going on. But I have faith in Nintendo. Like, typically when it comes to Nintendo, they're pretty smart at their marketing, specifically when it comes to The Legend of Zelda. I feel like they don't give away everything. They only give away the portions they want you to see, and they hide all the other big story elements. So I'm super excited. For example, there's theories going around that there's actually 2 Hyrules. It looks like you might be traveling from the future to the past, because in one scene it looks like Link is in Hyrule Castle, but Hyrule Castle is perfectly fine, like there's no destruction. And then there's another scene where Hyrule Castle is definitely destroyed. So it kind of looks that way. And a little bit of spoiler, I was watching a playthrough and somebody did mention, one of the NPCs mentioned the Temple of Time. In the beginning, it looks like you somehow have to reach the Temple of Time for something. So it's going to be very interesting. There is another theory out there that Zelda, for example, is in the past. There's also a theory that in one of the trailers it shows a female looking to, like, she does like a Kamehameha wave or like a blast, and people are speculating that might be a previous Zelda from a different timeline or something like that. So there's a lot of things we don't know about this game, so I'm super excited to play and get my hands on. Another thing that we don't know about is, where's the other champion? We've seen 3 of the 4 champions. One of them, we see them rushing towards something, but that 4th champion we only see off screen. People are speculating that maybe he died and Ganondorf took his tear. I mean, there's a lot of speculation around that. I don't know, I am super hyped. There's a lot of things we don't know about this game, and I cannot wait to play it. I will be streaming it live on Friday, possibly Friday morning, maybe Friday during the day, and we do have a group stream. I will be me, Mike, and Fan will be streaming it all together. So yeah, it's gonna be pretty big on us playing Tears of the Kingdom. I can't wait to play it. Hope you guys love this video. Definitely check us out. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Don't forget to follow us over at Twitch. We do stream Wednesday through Friday, so always check us out there. We have our podcast every Sunday, and don't forget we're also live on Spotify with the podcast rather. So definitely check us out there. My name is James from the Random Encounter, and we'll see you next time.